you may have to ask some trap questions. And I think I did share one in one of the previous sessions where I said this was a program for a very senior level people. You know, they were DGMs and AGMs of a major PSU. So one person was a perennial cribber. So the point as a trainer I have to remember is if I shut this person off, then he or she might create a situation where not listening to me, purposely becoming, you know, an obstruction in every which way. आपने मेरी बात नहीं सुनी तो मैं भी नहीं सुनूंगा. So you have to allocate a fair amount of time for such things. So after I heard him out for 10-15 minutes, his main crib was that my boss treats me in this manner, this manner, and he is all unfair, etc. So what was my reaction? I said, well, आपको पता ही है कि किसी भी इशू में दोनों साइड को सुनना जरूरी है. आपके बॉस तो यहाँ है नहीं, मैं उनसे बात नहीं कर सकता अभी, तो मैं ये मान लेता हूँ कि आप सब कुछ सच बोल रहे हैं. एंड दिस कम्स फ्रॉम एक्सपीरियंस. तो आप सब कुछ सच बोल रहे हैं, मैंने मान लिया. अब आप मेरे को एक चीज बताइए, मैं बॉस से बात करूंगा आपकी, मैं देखूंगा उनका क्या पर्सपेक्टिव है विदाउट नेमिंग यू. बट आप एक चीज बताओ कि वो बॉस जिस पोजीशन में है, आपको उसके पोजीशन में पहुंचने में कितना टाइम लग जाए. अभी तो काफी सीनियर हो गए हो. ही सेड अबाउट 8 to 10 years. मैंने कहा ठीक है. नाउ कैन यू गिव मी अ प्रॉमिस that 8 to 10 years down the line when you are in that position and there are some juniors of yours who have reached your position and by simile आप आज जिस पोजीशन में और आपके जो जूनियर्स आपको रिपोर्ट करते हैं, can you give me a promise that they will not face any of the problems that you are facing? That is the way to trap them. तो और क्योंकि ऐसा एक्सपेक्ट शायद नहीं किया था, फट से आंसर आता है. 10 साल के बाद कहाँ पता है मेरे को क्या याद रहेगा नहीं रहेगा. तो मैंने कहा बस आपने खुद ही आंसर कर दिया. आपके बॉस भी भूल गए हैं कि उनको क्या प्रॉब्लम होती थी आपके लेवल पे. कभी आपने शांति से बैठ के बॉस को बताया कि मेरे को थोड़ा गाइडेंस दीजिए? यू हैव टू बी अ लिटिल डिप्लोमेटिक टू मेक द बॉस रियलाइज कि आप उनकी कुछ बातें समझ नहीं पा रहे, तो थोड़ा क्लैरिफिकेशन मांगे, तो अपने आप वो रीजन देंगे. So you have to know when to catch the boss in a right mood and go with not with the purpose to fight, but with a purpose to make him realize his mistakes. You have to have a cool head. कि ये आपने कहा था, मैंने कोशिश भी की, पर मेरे को समझ नहीं आया ये क्यों आपने कहा. थोड़ा बता दें तो मेरे को आसान रहेगा. That is the way, you know, you have to teach. I would not, speech is a very strong word. You have to discuss and find a way out. और जो आपने खुद ही कहा कि there is the right view, there is the wrong view. Instead of that, what we have is my view and your view. The right view remains on the side. So that aspect, it needs time and patience. Counseling is not a very easy thing. Mentoring is not a very easy thing. Right? So these questions, wonderful that you have these questions in your mind because these are genuine questions. But there are no ready-made answers. ये इसीलिए I hate MCQs in fields like HR. It cannot be that one is a correct answer, S3 related है, पर सारे ही incorrect हैं. As I said in the beginning, what you are saying may be right, but the opposite of that may also prove to be right. In social sciences, yeah. What is perfectly acceptable in US culture is complete no-no in Indian culture, and vice versa. So therefore, we have, and today with globalization, you have so many different nationalities in every organization. You have to be very, very thorough with what might work and what might not work. And therefore, you know, more of counseling, more of discussions, more of making them realize each other's strengths. वही appreciative inquiry आप employees के लिए भी कर सकते हो कि उसका ये चीज देखो. अगर 10 बुराइयां हैं तो वो 3 अच्छाइयां आप बिल्कुल देख ही नहीं रहे, या उसकी हो सकती है 20 अच्छाइयां हो that you are overlooking, you know. So no one is completely good or completely bad. So let us find out the workable things that we can. In fact, आजकल diplomacy में, and this was told to us in a very senior level leadership retreat by none other than Shyam Saran, who had just retired as the Foreign Secretary of India. He says, in today's world diplomacy, we do not take blanket enemies and blanket friends. For example, if we find that there is a possibility that in a project, if we collaborate with China, we gain, Chinese gain, they may be overall enemy, fine, but we will go into it. So we don't have complete enemies and complete friends. And that is coming down to organizations also. With whom you want to collaborate, that rigid stance. And if you remember, if you attended the first session, that is why I talked about Ram and Krishna. And if you remind me, I don't remember whether I sent it to Arvind. There is just a 4.5 minutes video by none other than Devdutt Patnaik, who has done a lot of work in Indian ethos. It will explain to you as to how different characters can be handled and what is to be made clear to them. There are times when people follow the letter, but they don't follow the spirit, right? And there are times when they don't follow the spirit, but they follow the, they don't follow the letter, they only follow the spirit. Both can lead to problems. Therefore, a flexible approach is very important. And that is the difference between Ram and Krishna. Ram's approach, perfectly ethical and all that is fine, but it was more straight, whereas Krishna's approach was more serpentine. Because the times had changed. We are talking of Treta and Dwapar, and now we are on Kali Yuga probably. So therefore, obviously, further changes have to be needed. Further changes are needed. Right? So there cannot be a uniform single one-point answer. This is not science. And I'm saying it with a fair amount of, what should I say, exposure on both sides. And even today,
sir, I want to say a little bit.
Please.
Sir, this Devdutt Patnaik has done a lot of damage, that he has made this myth. One place we are taking them as role model, on the other side he says it is a myth. And then this study by Devdutt Patnaik is not the way it is in the scriptures, but as it suits to West. He has tried to extract modern management from that, and all the time it is not like that. So we are cooking stories or what you say, interpretations from those things, and that is why we simply take that Ram is different. I think until unless we have done our authentic studies, we should not use these stories, because Devdutt Patnaik, I have written him so many mails to answer many questions, but he never answers that. So this is my submission.
Okay, fair enough. I fully respect your opinion, but the way I look at it is, any story that is written, right, wrong does not matter to me, so long as I can get a learning from it. So if you
in learning point also, see, you repeat what you said about Krishna and Ram, then we can discuss further.
See, the point is, if most of the people are interested in this discussion, fair enough. But otherwise, I think.
See, otherwise you should stick to this course is Western management. Don't put mythology in this. Otherwise, this is debate, because the ISTD course and these things are not discussing Krishna and Rama. So instead of learning wrong interpretation just because Devdutt Patnaik has written, is not good.
Fair enough. It is your interpretation.
It is not my no, sir. Scriptures
are
already well documented. And
no, your view is fine. But what I am saying is, if there is a whole treatise and one story out of that,
if you don't quote the treatise and you quote Devdutt Patnaik, then there is problem. If you say Mahabharata sloka this, I agree. But Devdutt Patnaik, half-studied man, is not acceptable.
Fair enough, but to me it is acceptable because it helps.
No, sir, we have not come here to learn your opinion. We are come here to learn ISTD. ISTD has given a syllabus, and our course should focus on that.
So that is what I am trying to do. What is appreciative inquiry? What is appreciative inquiry? That's why I said that there can be different views. Every human being has a right to have a view. But the question is that,
Sir, I give you one question and I will stop because there is no point in repeating. Can you do same thing with Peter Drucker? Peter Drucker, can you extract something different what he has said in his theories?
yes, yes,
Please give
yes,
one example. Please
yes,
give an example.
I do always, I have extended Peter Drucker's concept of effectiveness and efficiency.
See, extending and contradicting is two different things.
No, contradicting, I can contradict. You are also absolutely within your rights to contradict anything. Point is, if I have a practical problem in front of me and some story helps me to understand that problem and solve it, whether it is, as you rightly said, whether it comes from Eastern or Western philosophy does not matter. The question is that when you are talking to a child, why do you tell so many lies to the child? Please tell me.
Now,
Because
sir,
you want to
now, sir, I withdraw because when you accept telling child lie to child, then I have no debate. Thank you, sir.
point is you have to make the person realize something. That little child, we use so many lies. What is the intent? And that is where Krishna and Ram are the same. Are you supporting the ethical side or not? Your ways have to be based on what the other person in front of you is doing, even if that means a deviation from the actual story or the actual interpretation. And that too, there is nobody in this world probably who can say this is the only right interpretation. I respect my ancestors such a lot that they kept open ends for this reason only. They had the vision to see that the future will be more complicated. So one thing can be interpreted in so many different ways. There would be people who will say, no, Sam, Dan, Ved doesn't apply. Fair enough. For them, it doesn't apply. For me, it helps to handle situation.
Sir, now I am not debating, but one humble submission: Sam, Dam, Dandabhed is recommended for Rajniti, not for home, not for training.
But if I can apply it and get results without deviating on ethical patterns, what is wrong with that? And it is again, again an interpretation difference.
No, sir,
Sam,
1 minute.
Dam, it is
sir,
not.
I will close it. But when you use Bhed, then you are always unethical. It is Bhed is only for winning. It is not ethical.
No. But again, Bhed can be interpreted in so many ways, boss.
See, we have to go.
If there is a crook in front of you and there's a genuine person in front of you, would you not like to save the genuine person?
No, sir. Bhed has been given by Shukracharya, and what he has defined Bhed, that is the Bhed. It's not what you interpret.
Again, see, the point is, why were these written? They were not written in stone that you cannot interpret it. This is the beauty of Hinduism, frankly, that you have even atheists are Hindus. They can be Hindus and they can be atheists. So what does that mean? You don't have to follow any particular god or anything. If something helps me to handle a situation, I would take that and use it. You are entitled to your difference of view. I'm not questioning that at all. So as you rightly said, let's try and proceed with this. I have a difference of opinion with you, perfectly fine. Not an issue at all. Yes, Ketan, please do. Everybody is welcome. Ketan, you wanted to say something, please?
Ketanji, we are not able to hear you.
Even I can't. Is Ketanji saying something?
Yeah, he's not on mute, but we are not able to hear him, sir. Maybe, yeah, he has. Ketanji, are you trying to speak something? We are not able to hear you. Ketanji, your microphone may not be connected. Seems like, there is some issue with your hardware or connectivity.
Is he able to hear us, Arvind?
Ketanji, can you hear us? Because we are not able to hear you.
There is some issue.
So, sir, can we do one thing? Let's move forward. And
Fair
once
enough.
we are able to hear Ketanji, then we can come back to his question. He actually wanted to add something to the discussion, but seems like we are not able to hear him.
Well, so any other question on this slide?
Ketanji, if you want, you can write it in the chat message because we are not able to hear you. Perfect. Perfect, sir. Should I change the
Your
slide?
chat messages are coming, but your voice is not coming.
So should I change the slide?
I think so, if there are no questions. Absolutely.
Okay, perfect.
That is why I tried to make them, as in as much depth as possible from the exam point of view only, that you have the content clearly there. Yeah, next we can move on. So there are 4 steps in appreciative inquiry generally believed. Yes, Ketanji, I totally agree with you. And that is why I was bringing in, my initial science background to social sciences. And science, of course, generally will talk about, though science also has so many unsolved problems. But I am told the same atom can exist at 2 different places at the same time. So those kind of things are very much there. So good, very good answer, that nothing is fixed. And there could be many interpretations to the same thing. Fine. So the first step in appreciative, sorry.
Sir,
Yeah.
just to add to the truth part, in science also, what is true today may not be true tomorrow, because
Yes.
truth is dependent upon what we know till this time. But what we know till this time, we might actually, know a lot of other things, which will say that what we have known till this time was not right. And it was evident in, like, when we actually studied Niels Bohr atomic theory. When everyone said that atoms revolve around the nucleus, and then the Rutherford model was said that it was wrong somewhere, because if the atom continuously move around the nucleus and there will be the emission of energy will be there, then it should collapse and finally nothing should exist. But it actually doesn't happen that way. So then centripetal and centrifugal force came into picture when we actually talked about chemicals, especially atoms.
Yes, good. So simple things we have, even in my lifetime, I have seen. When I was a kid, I remember whenever I had fever, the first thing that would be told by my parents was, बिल्कुल नहाना नहीं है, चावल नहीं खाना है, and all those kind of restrictions would come in. Today I find doctors say, अरे 103 बुखार है, पहले इसको ठंडे पानी से नहलाओ. So it has reversed, completely in our lifetime, which is very, very small in comparison to, the other thing. That's very correct, that things keep on changing. So appreciative inquiry is essentially consisting of 4 steps. Kindly go through. The first step is the discovery part, which we have discussed in many ways. But here is a technique given how to do the discovery. And incidentally, appreciative inquiry, an Indian, Srivastava, has a role to play in its initial stages. So Pryder and Srivastava will come to that. So is this fine? Do we move on? First step is clear. This is how you have to move when you do an actual OD assignment, or for example, a case study given, even in an exam situation. You can write this, that we will, if you feel appropriate, that we will go into an appreciative inquiry. We will discover in this manner. Second step, Arvind, we can move on. So second step, as you can see, whatever you have discovered, we need to now speculate on the possible futures. Mark the words. It is futures. You don't close your options at this stage. You try to visualize many different futures that could be there. And then later on, decide on which path to take. So this is what uh, Peter Senge calls expansive thought, not expensive, expansive, which means wide thought process, right? So what could be the possible future? How is that done? People are asked to envision the organization in the next 5 years, or after 5 years, what would they like it to be? What do they want it to be different from it is right now? Then the third step is the design part of it. So whatever has been dreamt of in the second step, now you have to create a design and a common vision for the organization. Now, how this is done, these are done in workshops. I did mention revisioning. First of all, if the organization does not have a vision mission, we go into that. If they already have one, but given the changes in environment, business environment, if you have to change, then we bring in revisioning, remissioning, and all of that. So the entire strategy is changed. Yeah, do we move on? Fourth step. So till the third step we have reached, what should the organization look like? What are the changes we are dreaming of? Now we have to actually create an action plan, how the organization is going to fulfill its dream. What are those steps that we need to take? And this is where it actually matches with what strategic planning is all about. Or business strategy is all about. So as you can see, the last sentence says typically includes writing of action plans and development of the implementation strategy. Step by step, how do we move from one to the other? Do we move on? Unless there's a question, I think we can move on. So these are the basic 4 steps in appreciative inquiry. So here is an example of what came out of a particular appreciative inquiry process. Nothing to explain, I think you will understand. Yeah. So this aspect we had discussed in one of the earlier sessions, that the person who is closest to the activity that we are discussing might come up with something wonderful, and this is how it happens. You see, these workers were encouraged to devise money saving ideas, and just see, out of the 12 cost cutting ideas, just one generated a $1 million in additional profit. Those are the kind of benefits that you can achieve if an OD process is handled correctly. Okay? And in fact, late Shumantra Ghoshal, I think I did give a reference of that, has cautioned that, some managements think they are very smart. And it also kind of goes back to the question in the early part of the session, that they think they want the size of an elephant. My company should be huge and this and that. Well, very good. And they also like the speed of a deer, or a gazelle. So what they do is they put the body of an elephant and the legs of a deer. And so you can very well imagine what will happen to that strategy. Right? So it's a kind of metaphor to caution management that your strategies must be rooted in reality. So you cannot pick up something from somewhere, something. That is why I was cautioning against the Ketanji has wonderful ideas. Thank you so much. So, so this is how we can gain from a genuine OD process. Yeah, next please. Now the key point here is in the second sentence towards the end, self-determined change. People feel that we have brought about this change, not this OD consultant from the outside. That's when, and when we come to the values in OD and other things, you will see this as a key process in OD, that people will always be more committed to the implementation of ideas which either they have developed or at least it has been discussed with them. Otherwise, it will remain the OD consultant's idea. So it has to be brought in a way that they feel attached to it. And in the modern terminology, we call it the buy-in concept, the ownership of the idea and the buy-in. So if you are not convinced, buy-in is basically you are convinced about that idea. And therefore, and if you have created that idea, obviously, you will be more committed to make it work or implement it. And remember, whatsoever great an idea is, if it is not implemented well, you will never get results. Which is what I said right in the beginning, that the doctor may give the best prescription possible, but if I don't take the medicine, I am not going to get cured. So there is a whole movement you can see towards the lower part of the slide, precursor to the rise of positive organization studies and the strengths-based movement in American management. Meaning, always focus on the organization's strength. When we do SWOT analysis, the tradition has been to talk of strength first, right? Of course, there are many variants now available, but that is how they all begin. Build on the strength. That is the essential message. The negatives will automatically get eliminated if we keep on increasing this. Next, please, unless there's a question, of course. So here I have used E, inquiry. The word E has been used. Yeah. So this is what I was talking about, that this concept of appreciative inquiry is generally credited to the Case Western Reserve University, where in 1987 this article was written by, which was co-authored by an Indian. One more click, Arvind, please. So this is the essence. They felt that the overuse of problem solving hampered any kind of social improvement. Okay, fine. Thank you, Arvind, for that's a very good reminder. 10 more minutes. So any of you have questions, kindly raise it in the next 10 minutes, and otherwise we continue with this. At least we finish with appreciative inquiry. There are 5 principles associated with it, so that we will come to. Let's move ahead. Next, please. So this is another way of putting it. As per Bush, collective inquiry into the best advocates, he advocates actually, collective inquiry into the best of what is in order to imagine what could be, followed by a collective design of a desired future state that is compelling and thus does not require the use of incentives, coercion, or persuasion. People get so involved that they do it out of their own volition, out of their own free will, rather than being coerced or pressurized into doing. Fine. Next, please. So this nicely sums up. So what is the model based on? The assumption that the questions we ask will tend to focus attention in a particular direction, that organizations evolve in that direction. It may appear that you are just praising people and all that, but there is a, if you I may use a strong word, hidden agenda for the questions to provoke positive discussions. I am purposely using the two. Provoke is usually a negative term, but provoking positive discussions, which will help improve the health of the organization in the future and therefore the health of employees too. So which is against what was typically known as the deficiency model, where we were always asking what are the problems, what is wrong, what needs to be fixed. That is the essence of appreciative inquiry. It is going against the deficiency model. Next, please. There's not much to explain here, I think, particularly with people who are quite senior. So kindly read the second para. Appreciative inquiry, what does it do? One more click. So in the 80s, it was very novel, but now, of course, it has become common. The doctor-patient kind of a model has been given up by almost all OD consultants or OD practitioners. Then come the 5 principles. I think we'll quickly go through unless you have a question, and that will kind of complete at least the appreciative inquiry. As I said, this will help you to do your assignment, use this concept, and even for handling cases. After all, every organizational OD is also a case in a way. So the first principle is called the constructionist principle. One more click since time is limited. Yeah. Now here there's a very important aspect involved, that human behavior is based on what we perceive rather than what the reality is. For example, if you have an impression that I am a very nice person, a very saintly person, if I come to your place, you will not mind leaving lakhs of cash right there and go away to the market, because you believe, your perception about me is that I am not a thief, I will not steal your money. Whereas I may be actually a thief. And the converse of that is also true. If you think I am a thief when I am actually not, your behavior towards me will be as it will be towards the thief. So my reality does not matter. It is the perception that will make you behave in a certain way. So that has to be understood. So reality versus perception dilemma always exists. So whatever the organization is gets created through all these interactions is the message of the constructionist principle. Construction. The construction of an organization is what we are talking about. The nature of the organization. How does it come? So the purpose of this inquiry is to stimulate new ideas, stories, and images that generate new possibilities for action. That's what appreciative inquiry's purpose is. So I think, Arvind, we should stop because you did mention that 7:30 we need to stop, and hope to continue with this. I would request the participants to go through the other 4 principles. There are 5, and we can start with that next time if you have a query, or else we can proceed from there. And if you have sent in some cases by then, we can discuss the results. But kindly make a point to read up the case, because otherwise, a quick reading during the session may not be very fruitful. OD, one has to have the depth of understanding of the situation in that particular case or whatever organization.
Sir, usually when we talk in context of any organization, I haven't seen the managers doing a lot of practice of appreciative inquiry on their subordinates, and probably
Thanks, Ketan.
which is one of the reasons why external consultants are hired for OD purposes. Because usually people who are in the organization, they have a lot of bias and perceptions about the employees within the organization. Is that so, sir?
I'm not able to hear you clearly. There's a lot of disturbance.
Am I audible now, sir?
Yes, much better.
I said usually what happens in organization,
Right.
Managers are not, they do not use appreciative inquiry as a tool with their subordinates in most of the
Right.
cases. One of the reasons being that they have bias and perceptions, strong biases for their employees, for their subordinates.
Right.
And this could be one of the reasons. My understanding is this could be one of the reasons why external OD consultants are hired specifically for any organizational development work, because they'll actually have a neutral approach towards development.
Right. In fact, a bit of it is there in the subsequent slides about why external OD consultants are preferred usually. That is true. What you are saying is true. Those people have no axe to grind. I have no interest as an external OD consultant whether I'll get my next promotion or not, or who is the person who will give me the next promotion, so I will not contradict him or her. An outside person will not have those biases. And second is, of course, the standard this thing of Ghar ki murgi dal barabar. Even if there is a competent person inside the organization, since you deal with that person every day, you don't think that that person can bring in a lot of new ideas. So that is also unfortunate.
Sir, one more reason is that sometimes the problem lies with the top management.
Yes.
As they say, bottlenecks are always at the top.
That's Drucker again, I think. Right, good. Bottlenecks are always at the top. Yes.
So when the person who has to do it is normally either the deputy general manager or general manager, and when the change is required in chairman, the general manager preferred that let somebody outsider say it.
Right.
That is also the reason for consultant.
Totally agree. But the other part is, unfortunately, there are consultants who are just taken their signatures on whatever the management wants to get done. So unfortunately, that category of consultants also exists, which is very unfortunate.
That is because sharing of revenue, because these consultants are normally brought by somebody insider, and he is used to get the money. And I know many such consultants who are just giving their name to get the money, and half the money will be taken by insiders.
Right, I agree. Even in things like these ISO certifications and all, there are people who actually ask you. I was stunned when one client told me, ISO certificate, I don't do that. But some other thing, he said, वो तो पूछ रहे हैं कि आपको वाकई कराना है या आपको खाली certificate चाहिए. Now what a question.
Sir, and you can see this when a jalebi wala is ISO. You can understand.
What a question to ask. So, all kinds of people exist in this world, undoubtedly, Rakesh.
Truly true.
So we have to face the music and do what appeals to us. What else?
Not only sir face the music, but play our music also.
Absolutely. That, of course. It's a two-way process. Yeah.
Sir, fortunately, we both are from FMS.
Oh, I see. Wonderful.
Jay Mitra is our common friend.
Oh, wonderful. 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 So, and I was taught by his guru because Jay Mitra is just about 3-4 years my senior. Professor N.R. Chatterjee. He was the dean my time.
And Professor Abad also.
Obviously. But unfortunately, we were unfortunate, I would say, because Abad Sahab was the director South Campus my time. So therefore, he hardly took any classes for us.
No, but now, sir, he visits sometime as a guest speaker.
Yes, of course. Of course. Of course. So where are you working?
I am in Mumbai, Director Management Development Center of LIC.
Oh, okay. Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful.
Nice meeting, sir.
Yeah, same here. Same here. Absolutely.
It is 9:32.
Yes,
So
yes.
if we do not have any questions, can we close the session
You
for
are
today?
the boss, sir. You don't have to ask anybody, sir.
No, sir. In case if you have something, some parting message like the last Guru mantra.
No. Everybody is a guru here. There is no. we all learn from each other. I keep saying that.
Okay, sir. In that case, thank you for the class. It's always wonderful to hear you and to learn from you the bits and pieces of OD. I have started getting the interest, in OD. I am not a person from HR, and if I can get the interest, I think people who are in HR must be enjoying much more than what I do.
Thank you so much for organizing, and Vineeta. And I think there was a message before that also. Somebody thanked me. So nice of all of you to join in and spend time with us. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Good night and have a great weekend.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.